guys, how's it going? Marcelo here.
And Weston.
And welcome to yet another E3 sub-arc, E3 2016. This is the fourth time we're talking about E3. Since Arc 1 we started by talking about E3 2013. And it's our third E3 sub-arc. So, wow, lots of E3 stuff. And wow, this year, lots of E3 stuff.
Yeah.
Really crazy announcements. So,
I wouldn't say a lot of, not as crazy as 2015. I think it would be kind of hard to top 2015, but this year did alright.
Yeah, it did give us a lot more unexpected stuff, definitely, so,
yeah.
For better or for worse, so we'll get into the good majority of those. Unfortunately for this sub-arc, unlike last year's sub-arc, where we did go over some hardware, we're not really going to go over it that much. Like, we'll probably talk a little bit about it now. There's not a whole lot that they pushed VR, so that was a thing that, you know, that they're pushing more than ever this year.
And then Microsoft's pushing not only the new Xbox One Slim version, but they're also pushing a new project called Project Scorpio, which is some kind of VR for the Microsoft systems.
I think. I mean, they really didn't say a whole lot about that. I mean, they opened up their show with Xbox One S, and then they ended their show with Project Scorpio, but I think they're teasing it as a console, but it's not going to be a new, like their next console after the Xbox One.
I don't really think it's like a console. I think it's more of a console add-on, like the Kinect was.
Maybe. They did say it was part of the Xbox One family, so that just goes to show that it's not anything like new, like the future after Xbox One, so.
Yeah.
I don't really know. In terms of how everyone did this year, though, once more, PC gaming is one that I try to pay attention to, but because we're not, like, us two are not that into
we're not PC gamers. We're more console guys.
We just didn't really find...
Sorry for all of you guys that happen to be PC fans. We just don't really play PC games, so none of the PC stuff really catched our eye this year.
Yeah, not so much. In fact, I caught, like, a good majority of the conferences, and Ubisoft happened, and the PC one was still going for a little bit longer, but I was like, I can't, I need to see what Ubisoft's doing. So I just kind of stopped writing down the games for our massive list that we chose our games from. But in terms of who did well and who did what, I think Sony won out again this year. Not just because of certain reveals that we'll get into later, but it's because every game, there was not a whole lot of talking on Sony's front. They just went game, game, game. Sean Layden talks about some stuff. Game, game, and they were some really big games. And even those that weren't so much as games that they were showing off, there were still some really big reveals that people have been wanting for the longest time. So they were surprising me and exciting me every turn that they took. And if I wasn't excited for something, or at least I was like intrigued. And other conferences like Microsoft's, like Bethesda's, was one of the most boring conferences to sit through because I'm just sitting here like, so it's a shooter. Here's another shooter. Here's a third-person, like, I guess, action, stealth. Tom Clancy showed up a lot throughout the conferences. I'm not sure if they showed up through Sony's conference. They might have, but who cares about Tom Clancy? EA's, again, there was some unexpected stuff, which we'll get to later, but for the most part, it was equally as kind of boring. So.
And then, surprisingly, Nintendo didn't really cover a whole lot. They just mainly covered 2 games. And we're gonna be talking about them later throughout the sub-arc, but there was some good stuff about Nintendo's Treehouse event. Namely, they were showing off a lot of gameplay, especially for their new Legend of Zelda game, and we actually got a title for it as well.
Yeah.
Which we'll get into more in the sub-arc.
There were a lot of off reveals too, as to be expected. One of the off reveals you got excited for that we saw the night before recording this episode, and that was hilarious because sadly we're not going over it. We can talk a little bit about it maybe later. But
alright, but I actually did do some digging on that game, and it's actually a sequel.
Really?
Yeah. The game's called Nier Automata.
Yeah.
Automata. I guess it's called.
Some of that.
The title right here.
Automata, something like that.
Automata, yeah. And apparently I did some research, and it's actually a sequel to another game called, well, Nier.
Okay.
But it's like a 7-year-old game. Like, the game
really?
was
really thinking more about it, it's starting to sound more and more familiar. Near. Because I could have sworn that was one that, well, sorry for the jet, by the way, that's deciding to fucking fly overhead of my house as we are deciding to record. But we're not gonna cut, we're gonna keep going. Because it's already almost overhead. Near. The more I think about it, the more I think I've heard of the first game. But hearing the second one, it did fucking hell. Okay, we're not cutting. It's starting to sound more familiar. But go ahead with what you're saying.
All right. Well, anyway, I did do some digging. It's being made by the same director, but it's not being made by the same team. It's being made by Platinum Games. Platinum Game is going to be the developer for it, which is really good news. If you want to make a hack and slash game, there's no fucking better people than Platinum Games. Fucking jet.
Okay, it's done. It's done. Keep going.
Well, anyway, sorry. Sorry about that, Jet. Well, anyway, Platinum Games in general has just made some really awesome, spectacular hack and slash games. Bayonetta, for one. That's like their main one. That one's just fucking amazing. So, of course, anything that they have their hands on in the hack and slash world, I'm gonna fucking buy. Because that's just really cool. I love the combat in Bayonetta and stuff. And hopefully, they bring some of that influence into this new Nier game.
Yeah. One of the off reveals they have, they released some, Nintendo released some info for the next, there's a new Mario Party on 3DS coming out whenever, and they also revealed the, I think it's October something for, the new Paper Mario game on Wii U. So I think it's in October. I'm not really remembering, but there's some stuff for, Nintendo there. That's not just Zelda and Pokemon. So, besides that, how I would rate how the conferences went, it would probably go Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, because I did not even sit through all Nintendo's, because it was 7 hours long. I did have other things to do that day, and it was mainly Zelda. But we will be going over that soon, so you'll get to hear about that soon enough. Microsoft did have some okay reveals there, and one of them we'll be going over right now, as you just read the title. And Sony, like I said, just wowed me time and time again. Yeah, link down below, actually, I reacted to the entire Sony conference, so you can see my reaction video, the whole hour and 3 or so minutes, in the description below, so awesome. But let's get to why we're here in this episode right now. A fucking Xbox One exclusive! That shouldn't be an exclusive because it looks too awesome.
Yeah, no, this happened with Sunset Overdrive, and now it's happening with... Yeah, and Cuphead. Now it's happening again, and Marcelo is getting pissed off about it.
And before we go to the game, we learned new info for Cuphead. I don't know if you saw the link or the whatever that I posted somewhere. There is platforming elements, like platforming levels.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And I was like, yes, that's something I was asking for last year when we went over Cuphead for episode 3 of the E3 2015 so far. I don't hate boss rush eccentric games, because that's really cool, and that's what Cuphead started out as, nothing but boss level after boss level. But now we're getting actual legit Mario style 2D levels, and they're going to be just as hard with enemies popping up left and right, and that's awesome. That's a bonus. It's something I was hoping for as a bonus.
that actually makes that adds on number levels of the game.
Yeah.
And kind of like the game we're going to go over, it has some elements that me and you both like about it.
Yeah. So here we go. ReCore.
Yeah, we actually, a little kind of backstory to this game. We were actually wanting to cover it last year, but sadly we just couldn't fit it in our little 10-episode slot.
There was a lot of other ones we wanted to go over, so
before this one. So it didn't make it the cut, but luckily they released more information about it this year, so made the cut this year.
I love the trailer. It's just, so say what you will about the kind of genre for the song and all that, but the song sounds cool. The trailer's flashy. It's colorful. It has platforming elements. It just looks awesome.
Oh yeah, no, like ReCore looks like a pretty nice looking game.
Because when I saw it last year and I saw it was just the announcement trailer was just a cinematic, and I'm over here going, this looks interesting. Please don't let it be a first-person shooter or like some kind of other first-person-ish game. And I'm not gonna have a link, but if you do go to Destination Mark, I have a piece on first-person versus third-person stuff. There's a lot more you can get away with explorative-wise, if it's in third person. So with ReCore being a third-person game, I'm like, okay, awesome! You can get away with so much like that. And from what it looks like, since now is the first time they've shown gameplay, it looks awesome.
So pretty much what we got from the gameplay trailer is you play as Jewel. I always have a problem. It's spelled Joule. I always have a problem saying that name. So it's Jewel.
So Joel from The Last of Us.
No. So pretty much the character you play as is Jewel, but you also get to play as her robot companions. And what we're wondering is if since all the companions have their own names, do you like switch them out, or do you have to find like a power core?
Yeah.
Because like the way they operate is you have this power core, because at the beginning of the trailer she rips a power core out of like some robot, and then she holds it. So I'm wondering, do you find them in the level and stuff, and then just put the power core in?
Yeah, with how much they've shown from the gameplay, there's still like a lot of questions that have to be answered still with the gameplay, like that. And yeah, how do you summon them? How do you find them? Does she already start out with Mac, the main one that we've seen from last year in the cinematic, and then makes a return this year? That he seems to be her main companion, because he was the only one they showed off last year that tags along with her. And then this year they revealed a couple, at least two other ones. So
yeah. So let's talk about a little bit more. If you guys don't know what we're talking about, Mac is the little dog robot that we see in the first announcement trailer, and we do see a lot of them here. And then from like his little kind of like little opening, he's known as the Explorer. So I'm thinking his role is he's gonna be finding like stuff, and like he helps you find like stuff in the map and all that. But he also does have attack animations, namely like a charge up attack that he can just like dart through an enemy. But I'm thinking Max is gonna play a little bit more of an offensive role, just because like that's the only attack that we've actually seen. I think he's gonna play more of an explorative role in the game.
yeah.
And then the next one they showed off is a new one that we haven't really seen before, and his name is Seth.
Yeah.
And he's like one of those crab robots that we see in the announcement trailer that's attacking them.
Yeah.
That attacks them. So I'm guessing you could take that one over, and then you kind of have it. And he kind of helps you with more like traversal stuff, but also in his like little opening, he also has a laser cannon. So he's probably more of like a long-range fighting unit. So it's like to help you take out a pretty, or like enemies that are far away, or enemies that are on walls that you can't get to. You can shoot them down and all that.
And speaking of walls, one of the things that I really like about his gameplay style, at least when you're with him, is you can grapple over to him. Did you already talk about that? Or okay.
No, I'm not.
I am paying attention. I just didn't really know. You can grapple to him, and you can hang off him as he goes onto walls and stuff, and that's really cool because again, more explorative stuff, more puzzle-based things you can do with that. That's a cool way of just getting around. If there's like deep chasms, but there's just those hanging walls, and he goes on those walls, and then you can just grapple so that way you can go with him. That's really cool. So.
And then the last robot they showed off was Duncan, and he's that big kind of hulking mech.
Yeah,
that we
he
saw.
was shown in the cinematic last year.
Yeah, he was also shown, but he was shown at the end of the cinematic. He seems to be more like the brawler type robot. Like that one's more combat centric.
Yeah.
Like he helps you get rid of like a crap ton of enemies, and could probably even help you out taking out even bigger enemies. And then I could see him like from the way he like his opening started off, he was opening like a really big door of some sort. So maybe that's kind of like his explorative option, as well as he helps you get through large, massive doors.
Like
that
boulders, or like potentially that we didn't see that, but maybe like big boulders blocking the way to somewhere, or like doors if you have to get into somewhere.
But I'm thinking he's the more combat centric of all of the other two. And at the end of the trailer, they show off 5 robots. There's like 2 other robots. There's a flying one, and then there's kind of a rover looking one as well from the trailer, but they didn't show off them. So I'm guessing they might reveal them at a later time.
Yeah.
So pretty much out of the 5 robots, they showed off Mac, the main one, Seth, and then Duncan. So along with Jewel. So and they showed off their gameplay. The gameplay looks really cool. It looks like it has some third-person shooter elements since she is holding a gun.
Yeah.
But then I believe you can also switch to the robots, and then the robots can do some fighting as well.
That's what we're thinking. And even if you don't switch over, at least hopefully the AI is like really good.
Oh
and
yeah.
As it seems to look so far, that seems so. So hopefully, again, the whole thing that I'm still wondering about, there's still a lot of questions. Sorry for the passing fucking truck thing.
A lot of things passing by this episode.
So, let's see, where was I? What's still left to be desired is, like I was saying, certain gameplay elements, how you summon them, how you go about finding them, and that ties into the story as well, because I want to know, like, more about the world. Now, see, I've said this a lot on Destination Mark, and I'm pretty sure on here too at one point or another. If you want a game to captivate you, you're going to want to know more about the story. You're going to want the world to look interesting. You want to show off a really vast, interesting world, and you're going to want to have the characters look interesting as well. So, and the gameplay, and all of those 3 so far as it just stands right now, I'm in. Like, I want to see more, and it's an Xbox One exclusive. Jesus Christ.
I know.
But anyway.
That sucks, dude.
For me anyway, but well, kind of for you too, because you still have to get yours fixed.
Yeah, my Xbox One is being really stupid. I had it registered yesterday as of this recording, but oh my god, it is just being really, really dumb.
I don't know, man. Maybe you should invest in an Xbox One S. Maybe you won't have those problems then.
That's a possibility.
I don't know. But as it stands right now, ReCore looks amazing. I guess let's get to expectations now. What are you thinking about this?
Hopefully it lives up to the trailers. That's the main thing.
You can say about any game.
That's the main thing, but yeah, so far it's just looking really good. And I hope the gameplay still keeps interesting, and I hope that what they do is they introduce the robot companions in a way to where it feels natural.
Yeah.
And it flows pretty well.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's the case.
Yeah, I'm hoping I want to see more of the world. I want to hear the story. We haven't really heard much story yet, so I want to hear more about the plot, what's going on. I want to see more of the world, because it looks like it's a desolate wasteland, but not in the traditional sense of war happened and whatever. Like, it's not that kind of a story, at least from what it looks like right now. But that's why we need to hear more story. Was it a war that, ravaged the world, or like, what's going on exactly? Why does it look so apocalyptic looking? And it doesn't even look so much as desolate. It's just like,
yeah, it looks like a common desert area with maybe some scrap around.
So with all this technology and these kinds of robots, I just want to see more about these characters. Are there only 5 that they're showing off, like 5 core, no pun intended, core helpers, or are there more that you can potentially find and meet up with?
Ooh, like maybe you can hack like over robots and stuff, and then gain them as companions. That would be interesting.
Because what we've seen so far, what they showed from this year is that those cores are different colored, and color coding is not. It's a thing that it's going to help the gameplay for sure. Because from what we saw last year, it was the core of Mac, but Mac self-destructed himself. So she took his core, Jewel took his core, and then put it into a Duncan robot. And but now I'm not remembering. Was it the same color though of blue, or
yeah, it was the same color. It was the same color of blue in the announcement trailer, but when we actually look at the gameplay, the core for Duncan is different.
It's red.
Yeah, it's a lighter red, but yeah, it is a different color.
It's yellow, so.
Yeah, and Seth is yellow. So I'm thinking, and since they're all like kind of have like the different name, I think they're different robots. So I think as you explore the world, you do get different cores.
Because one of the things I was first speculating on from just last year's alone trailer was that you were going to use that was your buddy, the core, and all his data, his memories, the fact that he knows you and all that. So that kind of begs the question: will he be hotwired in the plot later to be pitted against you somehow? Because that's something that they tend to do when they want to pit your sidekick that you've been with all this time against you. I don't know, but what I was speculating from last year's trailer alone was that was your buddy in this core. So no matter what robot body he went into, be it the different gameplay styles from that one, not separate buddies of different kinds being with you, but your one singular buddy being put into different bodies. That's what I was thinking was going to happen, which would lead to different gameplay styles. But apparently, that's not the case. It's different robots that you partner with.
Yeah.
So I just want to see more. I want to hear more. I am definitely intrigued. The gameplay, there's platforming elements. That is awesome. That's right up my element. So,
and then plus the combat looks pretty nice.
Yeah.
And that's more of my element. Is I want the combat to be really good.
yeah. So it's looking really good right now. So, verdicts, 4.5, definitely for me.
4.5 as well.
Awesome. So we want to see more. So,
Yeah.
That's it. End the episode.
Well, anyway,
Awkward ending.
I'm Weston,
I'm Marcel.
and this was our first of the Subarcs.
Subarc, E3 2016 Subarc.
Yes.